Each day we drive to our schools or our workplaces. We feel secure in our vehicles and usually drive with confidence that we'll make it safely to our destination. On Tuesday, November 20th, 2018, Joe Shelton drove the same route to work that he'd done for the past 28 years. On this particular day, Joe never made it to work. Most likely, he never really knew what happened. A concrete block was thrown from an overpass, shattering his windshield and killing him instantly. One senseless act changed the lives of his family, friends, and co-workers forever. I've known Joe for the past 28 years. Our paths crossed at Nissan where we both worked. Our career paralleled for most of that 28 years. As we worked directly with each other, we were promoted together, and we followed each other and our careers throughout the 28 years. He left behind a wife, 3 children, a countless number of family, friends, and co-workers. He is and will be greatly missed. You could say that Joe was just like everyone else in this world, and he was. What made Joe stand out was his love for people and those who surrounded his day-to-day life. Joe cared, period. He cared for his family, his job, and those around him every single day. Several years ago, in the middle of the night, his house caught fire. Joe was the only one woken that night by what was taking place in his house. And he acted quickly. He was able to get everyone awake in the house and get them out safely. If it weren't for Joe, his family probably would have perished that night. Joe was and is their hero. If you knew Joe, you knew when you saw him, he was going to stop and talk. He never was one to just pass by and say hello. He loved to talk and catch up with friends. Joe and I had many conversations at work. We talked about work, life, and family every time we ran into each other. Joe had a knack for making you feel like he was your best friend. And he was great because he was genuine and cared about everyone in his life. Joe loved his job. His job was to make everyone's job on the factory floor a little bit easier to do and easier for those building the vehicles at the Nissan plant. He took great pride in what he did. His team built and installed things on the shop floor that made everyone's job easier and much less burdensome. He always did whatever it took to complete the task with excellence. He was committed to those that he was helping and took great pride in his work. Joe always said all a poor man can do is work. Joe was dedicated not only to his family, but in everything that he did. Joe left a strong legacy for his family to follow. As I sat and listened to his 3 children speak at his funeral, you could see and hear how Joe left a part of himself in each one of them. They spoke of Joe's love for them and for his wife. They spoke of Joe's work ethic and how each of them will work hard to make their father proud. They spoke of how Joe showed each of them tough love because he knew and wanted great things for each one of their lives. His wife spoke about how Joe loved music and to sing, and how his children grew to love music just like their dad. Joe had greatly influenced his family in such a positive way that you could see his strength in each of his children as they spoke about their father. Joe Shelton will be greatly missed in this world. You see, for Joe, the world did not revolve around him. It revolved around those he called family and friend. He was caring, kind, genuine, loving, and very authentic. He was a husband, a father, a brother, a son, and a good friend. Joe, thank you for being my friend. And thank you for making a true difference in this world. Do not take your relationships for granted. Stop, talk, care, and love those in your life, just as Joe did. Live by the example that Joe set as a loving and caring friend that he was to me. I will miss you, my friend.